broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey guys, welcome back to AFTERBUZZ TV. This is the Flash After Show, and tonight we're going to be breaking down and recapping episode 22 called Rogue Air.
Yes.
Yep, we're back. As always, you can comment with us watching live on YouTube. You can tweet at us using the hashtag ABTVFlash. That's AFTERBUZZ TV Flash. And let's have it up with some intros. Roxy is unfortunately out this week. She will be back next week with a very special guest as well. I'm Jeffrey Masters. I tweet from Jeff Masters 1. Joining me on the illustrious other side of the table, Ashley Daniels. Oh my God, there you are.
Here I am. Hi, I'm Ashley Daniels. I tweet from Ashley Daniels.
Fantastic. And Tari.
Hey, I'm Tari J. Miller. You can find me at Tari J, TAURIJAY.
Oh my God, let's get right to it. I love this episode. What did you guys think? How'd you feel?
Oh my God, that ending was amazing.
Yeah.
God.
We say every week it's the best. I don't know. I feel like Roxy would think tonight would be her favorite. But I don't know. It's hard to read her mind.
Yeah, maybe you at home will disagree that this is the best episode, but that fight sequence at the end was the best.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my God, bananas.
This is bananas. B-A-N-A-N-A. That's totally
Guys,
what
Rod
it was.
was last week. Come on.
But it doesn't matter.
He'll
He's
always be in our heart.
Always.
What did you think, Tari?
I thought it was a really fun episode. I love that it felt like two separate episodes, which made me feel like I was getting more bang for my buck, because there was the prison break and also the main villain fight. So it was so good.
Yeah. A part of me watching it was Avengers came out last weekend. It was so amazing. Part of me was the writers were like, okay, come on, it's May 11th and May 12th. We have to have a good episode.
Yes, and I actually am in the middle of watching Avengers 1 so I could go see Avengers 2. And so for me, I was already kind of in that mode of that crazy, this episode could stand up to a movie like that. In my opinion, that the effects, you wouldn't know that this is not a movie. If someone walked in, if my parents walked in and saw me watching this, but what movie is that?
No, absolutely. Wait, I'm sorry. Can we stop the show 1 second? Ashley, you've not seen Avengers?
No.
What?
No, I just bought it on 3D because I have a 3D TV, so I watch it. I'm watching it with my glasses.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'll keep rich jokes for the end.
Yeah.
Wow.
You guys are always welcome to come watch it with me. I have
you
extra
so much.
glasses
We
I
know
bought
what we're
on
doing
Amazon.
after this.
Anytime. You serious?
Okay, back to Rogue Air. So the big thing that kicks everything off, the particle accelerator is on and fully functional. Harrison Wells has been a busy man.
Yeah.
Do we think this has all happened throughout the season behind the scenes? Right?
Yeah.
That's been the plan all along.
No, I mean, I feel like it was his new contingency. Once he was caught, he's like, well, I mean, I built in this functionality in case everything went wrong. So now I made a makeshift battery and
Yeah. So I'm sorry. So you think it happened within the last 2 weeks?
Yes.
Oh my word.
Wells is a super genius. I mean,
Yeah.
of course.
No, for people for me, I don't watch Arrow. I've seen episodes, but I don't watch it. Jeffrey, you watch it, right? Or you don't watch it?
I saw some of the first season.
Yeah, same with me. I still found it, when he comes into any Flash episode, I still get super excited and starstruck, and I don't even watch the show. So for people that watch Arrow, I feel like that must have been times 1,000. Because for me, I just think he's just so cool. He's amazing.
Yeah, and
he's a hero.
Yeah, and we'll talk about the other things that they brought in, like Lian Yu later. But I don't feel like I'm missing out.
Me either.
Also,
That's what I'm saying. I
Which
don't
is
feel like I'm missing
such
out.
a nuanced skill of the writers. What I feel like.
Totally.
I know. So we they never explicitly said why the particle accelerator was turned on, but it's safe to assume this is to help him get back to the future, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, I was thinking that he was using, in the same way that they found that battery under his wheelchair.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that he is essentially planning on using the particle accelerator to siphon its power so he can get back to the future.
Oh, as opposed to it being like a future machine that will
Right.
like zip him back.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been such an interesting thing all season with like the siphoning of energies from like the tachyon and just like
Right.
different like devices.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would assume that he's kind of like an energy junkie. He needs all these different forms of energy to keep him going in order to have his speed ability.
Yeah.
Because it's not innate in him to be a speedster. So he's like trying to get as much speed energy and speed force as he can.
Wait, sorry, it is not innate in him. Well, I guess it's not innate in Barry either, right? Or we think.
Right.
Okay.
Yes. Barry.
Sorry, this is a skill that Eobard as Harrison Wells, like he acquired though in the
Yes.
future?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I did not know that.
They haven't explained that yet.
Right, but that's like- yeah.
based on the comics, like originally, Thawne Eobard gets his powers from an old Flash suit, and he also like tries to recreate the, or depending on the version, tries to recreate the experience that created the Flash.
Yeah.
So essentially, he wasn't a native speedster. He did everything that he could to become one, and it seems like he has to get all of his power from an external source, as opposed to Barry, who, after becoming the Flash, he becomes essentially the Speed Force.
Right. Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Oh, a little backstory for us.
I love it.
So whereas like Barry can like heal himself and like after a while he like gets his powers back, Eobard then like he's down and he needs to take it
He
from
needs
somebody
he's
else.
like a car. He needs
Right.
gasoline.
Yeah, Speed Force gas.
Speed Force gas.
Speed Force gas. Brought to you by the Flash.
Pump it.
Ooh, interesting. I wonder if we'll ever go in the future for like an episode just to see like what's happening.
I hope so.
Yeah, and there's so many like meta humans now. Like, are they reproducing? Like, how is that world like?
Right.
Right.
And I also want to know, like, are people like Barry Allen like out and about as like, look, I'm a Flash, I'm great, or is it still like a secret identity?
I mean, I believe he's out and about. I mean, if I remember correctly, he's the chief of police. I don't remember if they had mentioned that in the newspaper article, but yes.
Interesting. In the comics, he's the chief.
Right.
Ooh, maybe. Interesting. That's fascinating. Great. So the big dilemma, the big problem of this episode was that the meta-humans locked up in the pipeline would not make it.
Right.
They would be destroyed / killed if the particle accelerator gets fully functioning. A small problem that I had was that they were like, hey, Cisco, estimate how much time we have left. And he's like, I don't know, like maybe 36 hours, I guess. And then they're basing every like calculation on that.
I actually agree with you. And when you just said that, it reminded me of the same thing. Because when the second time he asked you, like, how much longer? He's like, about 16 hours. But
Yeah.
it's like you say, they're basing it from the original guess or educated guess that Cisco made.
Right.
I mean, that's scary.
Yeah.
At any moment, they're all standing there and like something could just blow up.
Though, I mean, I would assume them being like crazy scientists, that like after they got up to the lab, they can calculate the rate at which it's building up energy. So then that was where the countdown was based off
Okay.
of.
I will give you that. However, his first calculation came
Right.
from
Yeah.
like, he was like,
Well,
there's
yeah.
not an on or off switch, dummy, 36 hours.
Yeah, right. Well, I think just the fact that he can make a guess, that just shows how smart he is. This is made in the future, you know?
Yeah,
It's
totally.
crazy.
And then he like makes the chalk. Like Cisco is like the best person to have on your team.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And I wish we could. Can you imagine a world where he would come and name every person that wants to be named?
That's what you're most impressed about.
I just think
the
it's,
name.
I think it's so cool that he comes up with these names. Like there could be like, remember all like those kissing booths and stuff. Instead of a kissing booth, there's like a naming booth. So when there he names you, he's like looks you up down. He's like, you are.
Okay, all right. We got something in the chat roll. Let's hear it.
All right, Mark Murphy asks, do you guys think that they will do the Flashpoint storyline exits season based on the preview for next week?
Sorry.
I don't think
Ashley.
that they're gonna go full Flashpoint Paradox. I think that he'll go back because we've seen the preview. But I don't think that they're gonna have a whole alternate reality, alternate future scenario. I think that something's gonna happen, and maybe there will be consequences of his time travel. But I don't think that they're gonna go full out Flashpoint Paradox. Like, that would be too grand scale.
I agree. And just for everyone at home, that's when they go back in time and come back and it's completely different.
Right.
The future, because they've altered it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be really hard to get the entire audience on board with.
Right.
We just were invested in a huge first season and we loved it. And then to be told that none of that happened, we'd like readjust.
Yeah. That would be hard.
Yeah, I mean, though I will say that, like, if they did decide to, they could do a small scale version of it where the characters that we already know end up in different places.
Yeah.
So as opposed to affecting the whole DC universe and like affecting Arrow and everything else, it's just the Flash verse that we exist in. I think that might be interesting to set up the next season where it's him, at least even if it's just the first few episodes, is him like trying to fix the past that he wrecked.
Yeah.
So I think that would be interesting. I don't think that they're going to go full out though.
Yeah, I don't think so either. We were talking earlier, though, about Cisco being, like, the best person to have on her team.
Yes.
Also, Iris is continually proving herself. When Peekaboo escaped and was, like, beating Caitlin
Yeah,
up.
that's amazing. She came to our rescue.
Yeah, she did. She's
Love
being
you,
very,
Candace.
like, useful.
Yes.
I want people to take notice.
I totally
on the show.
do. I totally do. She is amazing. She was, and tonight I just felt like it was unexpected. I'm always caught off guard with this show, but I particularly, if all people, I didn't think Candace would just show up there and save Caitlin.
Yeah.
That was so surprising. It was amazing.
I could hear, like, the crowd going wild.
Yeah.
Because all season, it's like, oh my God,
Bravo.
please. Like, she's had it in her all season.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just thought that was great.
She's a superhero herself.
I mean, she continues to show how much of a utility to this team she is.
Yeah.
And she just walked right in and saved Caitlin's life.
Yeah. And I also think that if I'm reading into things,
Yes.
when we had Candace on our show a couple of months ago, she said that she hopes that Iris will be able to do a lot more. Like maybe have a fight scene or just be more useful, for lack of a better word.
Right.
And I secretly, I think that's like to the point, like we want to see that too, but I secretly think the writers see that and are like, we want to keep our like lead actress happy.
Yeah. Right.
Like we want to give her interesting things to do on set to like make her excited to come to work every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that they're definitely doing that. And I think that's a lot of foreshadowing.
I was just thinking that, absolutely. God, you look, that's why you're Jeff Daniels. I totally,
Together you're Jeff Daniels,
yes,
like
we
Firestorm.
are. Exactly. Totally agree with you. Next season, we're going to see a lot more of that, I feel.
Absolutely. So what did you guys feel about the different like ways they were trying to like save the people in the pipeline? Like going to the DA agent?
Yeah, that wasn't going to go anywhere. But I feel like it was Joe's attempt at sticking to the law or trying to keep the law in the knowledge of what was going on, like not to
Right.
keep him complete, because he's really not doing anything that he was trained to do originally
Right,
as
yeah.
a cop. It's like at this point he thought maybe it's like his last attempt at trying to keep the justice system
Right.
Yeah.
Informed and
Yeah.
And I was happy with the DA's response.
You were happy. Yeah.
Just because like it's not like it's in Joe's character to go to the DA to ask, and it's in the DA's character to be like, oh heck nah, honey.
right.
Yeah.
It's a good impression, right?
No,
It
that
was a really
great.
good one,
Your
but she was
Cisco
like-
impression was great earlier. too.
I thought she should have helped.
Guys,
I thought she should have
thank
helped.
you.
Seems like they worked together for a long time, so I feel
They
like
have, but
they have a history.
It's one thing to be like, hey, could you do me a quick favor? And hey, can you have a police-sponsored transfer of illegal prisoners?
Hey, it doesn't hurt to ask.
Absolutely.
And he did.
Some stupid questions.
All right, let's roll to the chat line. What do we got?
All right, from Joseph Boza, he asks, do you think that Iris will have a hard time getting into the Scooby Gang since she is considered an outsider? I mean, not a part of the original Scooby Gang from the start.
Oh, I don't think she'll have any problem getting into the Scooby Gang.
I agree.
Especially now that Caitlin and her are like BFFs.
Yeah, I think Caitlin is just like yearning for some female connection.
Right.
Desire.
For,
yearning.
Aren't we all?
Yeah. Yes, Tari.
Some more than others.
Yeah, no, I think she'll fit right in. I think she's
Totally.
already fit in.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think from the very moment that she revealed that she knew who the Flash was, there was a little bit of contention, but at the same time, she showed how useful she is, and so she fit right into them, especially
Yeah.
since they had that vacuum of Wells being missing. They needed her to Yeah.
And when she was going back through like the newspaper records, being like, there's been trails of this and this and that. Like they're like, oh, we respect also this person that we enjoy being with. It's a perfect storm of joy and peace and love.
Yeah.
Some laughter, eternal happiness.
Skittles.
And Skittles, of course.
This makes me feel happy.
Yeah. We mentioned the Arrow Lian Yu.
Yes.
That is the prison there, right?
Yes. So for anyone who doesn't watch Arrow,
give us the deets.
Yeah, Lian Yu was an island, and I guess it is still in terms of this universe. It's an island that Oliver in the first few seasons was trapped on, and he was there for 5 years.
Oh, it's that island.
Yes.
Oh, I got it.
And so after he escaped, and after a bunch of stuff happened, Argus, which is a secret organization, they kind of work in the outskirts of the government, and they do like black ops kind of missions and stuff.
Okay.
But they created a prison there that he could keep the more dangerous foes.
And are these dangerous people or like dangerous metahuman types?
Right now, it's just dangerous people. Metahumans weren't really introduced into the Arrow universe until about this season because it became a thing in Flash.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So the closest thing that they had, I'm trying to figure out if this is a spoiler. The closest thing they had was some super strong people.
Cool.
But they weren't necessarily metahumans.
Gotcha. I think so. With the introduction of Lian Yu into like the Flash world, even though we didn't go there this episode, it's just so fascinating to me that they're sharing like plot points now, not just like characters walking on and off set to like help save the day. Like they are like just like interweaving these two shows.
Yep.
And then even more so, it seems like with Legends of Tomorrow, which got greenlit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's awesome. Go
It
ahead.
is awesome, and for me, for people like that don't watch Arrow as much, it's fun for us to go back and now study it a little more and like learn a little bit more about it. And it makes you want to watch it more.
Yeah.
So it's they're doing a great job by promoting both shows every time they do that anyway.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And then also like going like alongside that, there's so like this episode was like the reunion for every guest star ever on the show. And it's not just like and then like Captain Cold, which is like a supporting role, but it's not just like recurring characters that like set the scene and like, you know, it's like a police chief and the same like secretary in the front desk in the office. It's like big like people like recurring characters that move plot points along.
Yeah.
Like it just makes like the Flash world, I guess, which is the Arrow world, just seems so big.
Yeah.
It is big. There's a lot of characters.
It's a rich environment, and like it's only going to get more entangled, which I find it. You don't have that a lot on TV right now. Like, there aren't a lot of shows that are just like, all right, we're creating one cohesive universe, even though we're separate. Like, we used to have that with, like, the Buffys and the Angel, and then another show, which I cannot remember for the very moment right now. But it's not something that's being done, and it's really hard to pull off. And they're doing it flawlessly.
They do it with reality TV, but that's completely different. But they do integrate, there's like the Housewives, and then the Sir, that restaurant they all work at, whatever it's called.
Oh.
Vanderpump Rules.
Yeah.
Right.
Things like that. So it promotes both shows.
Yeah, but
obviously.
even like the Law and Order example, like SVU would have like a crossover,
Yeah.
but it's like one detective coming in and being like, "Hey, the clue's under the like library bench. Go, psst, bye," and they like walk off.
Yeah.
It's just like not to this scale.
I just find it interesting because there's so many different villains and just metahumans in the DC world. Like there's so many to choose from. How do they end up choosing which ones they want to use for each season? Like next season, like when they're choosing, there's just so many options. I mean, a lot of it is.
Well,
I don't know. It's interesting.
I mean, for this season, it seemed like they would specifically choose villains that reflected whatever Barry was going through in that episode.
Yeah.
Or something that would affect everyone to the point where it was disastrous. For example, like the Weather Wizard was more of a big bad that was affecting everyone, whereas like a Rainbow Rider or a Peekaboo were more of like a step in Barry's evolution as the Flash. I mean, we know from WonderCon that next season we're going to get Mirror Master. We don't know if he's going to be the main big bad, but and we've also been promised a surprise villain that everyone's going to be really excited about, but they haven't made mention of who it's going to be.
Right.
But I think that their choosing of villains based on the story as opposed to being like, I just think this villain's cool, is really smart of them.
Right,
Yeah.
right. No, absolutely. The thought goes into every single thing they do. I wish I could sit there and listen to why they choose which person and everything. It's so interesting. And what you just said is like probably exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I think we have a chat
Yeah,
question.
let's hear it.
All right. Eric Napper is asking, do you think Eddie Thawne will become Cobalt Blue?
Sorry.
He's not a very happy camper right now, so.
I don't. I think that they're going to leave his character. I think they're going to kind of just leave him by the wayside. For a second, I thought that maybe he'd become like some villain, maybe like a version of the Reverse Flash, but I don't think he'll become Cobalt Blue, mostly because like there's no hint that he and Barry share any lineage. Cobalt Blue is a secret twin of Barry Allen, and then he gets powers later. Blah 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 blah.
I hate Secret Twin.
Right.
I've just had so many in my life. Interesting.
So, I mean, I hope that they do something with Eddie's character down the line, and I hope it's something really cool, like maybe he does become evil, or maybe he joins the Scooby Gang, or maybe he like sacrifices himself in some meaningful way. Right now, we've been told that he's going to be nothing for the rest of his life. And so I hope that motivates him to do something more.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
He's very sad right now.
Yeah. So Barry is trying to save the day.
Yeah.
In the episode. And he goes to Captain Cold to appeal to his love of a city.
Right.
Did that not weird anybody out?
I thought it was smart. I
Really?
mean, yeah, absolutely. And in times of like distress, I feel like sometimes, that's why they say keep your friends closer, your enemies closer for moments like that.
Did you not think though, oh my God, how can he trust this person?
Yeah, but you can't trust anybody in the world anyway. So it's a difference. May as well bring someone in that's it's evil and tempt them in and give them whatever they want. I mean, in this case, it didn't go so well, but I thought it was a smart idea. I mean, there's nobody else he can choose. At least this person's evil enough that he would, he'd come aboard and he'd ask for something ridiculous, and then he got it, and then he would be tempted to do it, and then he would do it. Hopefully.
Yeah.
But you don't trust anybody anyway. It's a difference.
I would disagree.
Oh, of course.
I mean, not
No,
that
it's
I have
all right.
anything
It's all right.
against
It's fine.
you.
It's fine.
It's just I think that Barry in this moment, he was acting very rashly, and we've seen rash Barry before. He always becomes like this when it comes to the Man in Yellow, Wells, Eobard Thawne, the guy who killed his mother, etc. And so I think that since there's so much, I guess, not contention. There's a lot of there's that power vacuum in his team. He's not ready to fully rely on them yet, and so this was. If he had done so, then everything would have gone as it should have, because everything that they put in place would have worked out. The dampers would have worked, the plane would have worked, but he decided to go outside because he didn't feel like he could rely on his team, and that was ultimately his downfall.
Yeah. You know what, though? I've got a bone to pick with Barry Allen and the Restless Star Labs team. Do you know what it is, Tari? Lock your front door.
Yeah,
oh
Tara
my
yelled it.
Are you kidding
Tara
me?
yelled it, yeah.
Yes.
Captain Cole just barges in there and was like, yo, sup, guys?
Yeah.
And then Iris does later, too, but that's besides the point. Captain Cold.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
he
I
walked
think
right
the
in.
funniest thing is that everyone keeps walking into the lab, and then Wells is like, I'm gonna take the front gate.
And they see him coming
Yeah.
on the security
Yeah.
cameras. Oh, it's like
Amazing.
becoming comical.
It was so
It really is. We have a chat question as well.
Let's hear it.
All right, Antoine Wilson is asking, do you think future Barry is trapped in the Speed Force?
I mean, we don't know what happened to future Barry. We know that Eobard is stuck in the past. We never see any mention of the Barry that he came back in time with. So that leads us to believe that he is either in the past or... because traditionally when he disappears during the crisis, he becomes a Speed Force, and then like transfers it into his past self, so
Yeah.
it becomes this giant loop. But we've had no indication of that yet, and so he's
Barry Allen did not live for 200 more years.
No.
Is he just like a time hopper, and that's how they met up? Like
Yes.
in some interlocking time? Okay.
So he, let me think where to start. So when he was young, in like the 35th century, he was a big fan of Barry Allen.
Oh.
And so he, at some point, gained his powers and was able to move through time. He goes back in time to meet Barry Allen, finds out that he becomes the Reverse Flash, goes insane, and then makes it his goal to like destroy the Flash, etc.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah.
So he's a villain that came from like the future.
Yes.
Wow. That's wow. Okay, so that just to be clear is the comic books.
Right.
Most likely that will be the same case,
Yeah.
but like
Something similar, yeah.
They could change it up on us.
It's very
Right.
interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Kind of mind blowing.
So in the episode, Cisco takes like the power battery, for lack of a better word, from the wheelchair. They power the truck, and they've got all the villains lined up in single file row, alphabetical order. Who saw that coming with them? Like Captain Cold.
I saw that. Oh, I didn't see that coming. I
you
did
did
see
not.
that they were going to get their powers. I felt like they were. I didn't think it would come from Captain Cold like sabotaging it. I just thought that maybe there was another way that they could get them back by just like because they were getting angry. Who specifically was Nimbus? Was it
The Weatherman, Marin.
And Weatherman? Yeah,
Marin? Or Martin?
right, and then the who's the family? The mafia guy, Garbidi.
Yes.
Garbisian or
The
something.
bald guy.
Yes.
Yeah, the two
So
of them were
Nimbus,
getting
yes.
yeah, they were getting angry at each other, and I just felt like, oh my god, I wonder if their anger could get so like crazy that it could like
Get their powers back on?
I
Right.
felt like something was going to happen like that. You can't just have them in the truck and have it all be smooth move. You know, I mean, there's going to be something that happens.
Right.
I know. Do you guys notice that when they finally got their powers back and Barry was like doing his spinning arm
Yes.
thing?
Yeah.
I feel like he does that in every episode to like solve some problem.
It's pretty cool. It's like a windmill.
He just learned it like 2 episodes ago.
When he put out the
He
fire.
did great
Yeah.
at baseball. What a baseball player he would. We need him on the Red Sox, I'll
Well,
tell you.
he's practicing a lot, okay?
Yeah. I found that him using that to be really cool, mostly because you see how far he's come since he first caught these villains.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Without like Harrison whispering in his ear telling him what to do.
exactly.
Oh, you're right. He's becoming his own.
But how Wells can suck you right back in, even in the moments of me already knowing that he's super evil and he's standing there. We'll get into it later, but I still think to myself, maybe there's a chance that he'll be nice and he'll surprise us.
You really think that still?
I still think it. When he was talking to him for a second, I'm like, wait, what if this whole thing was, because at this point, everything I predicted, they could not even, it's going to be the complete opposite of that. So yeah, he's just attempting.
And I think that's why he was such like a cool, for lack of a better word, a cool villain to have on the show, because he is so trustworthy, like you said.
Crazy.
He's not playing evil, which I never want to pinpoint actors that I don't care for, but I'll just say
Well,
it
you're an
slightly.
actor. You can say it. I can't say it.
The
You can say it.
lady who, the Golden Glider, I don't know why she's doing that
She irked me.
voice. It just,
She irked me.
Yeah, it just like makes me mad. Like trying to be sexy. Like she's a
Right.
beautiful woman, just be sexy.
Right.
I don't know.
You never know if it was written in the script, but I
Right.
assume it was,
I think she's kind of camping it up for the show, like, because it's supposed to be all like comic booky and campy.
But no
and
one
stuff.
else is camping it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to bash on her. But I'm like, girl, it's your second episode.
She's like, this was going to be more than 2.
What? You don't like
When I'm
when I
done.
talk like that?
No, I don't, Tori. I'm sorry.
I can't understand a word she's saying, though. It's like whispers.
Hey, we're talking like this right now.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
Oh, sexy.
Let's keep going into Harrison,
Let's do
like
it.
you took us to. I think that's great.
Okay, fabulous. Let's do it. Taking you on a journey.
Yes. In order to defeat him,
Yeah.
we find that Barry has assembled Firestorm and Arrow. I have to say I was disappointed only in the instance because I was so excited, but the preview showed them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you guys say, I know that's like getting like bait to make you watch it, but would you have been more excited if you didn't know they were coming on?
This is why most people, I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't actually watch previews except when I'm here doing any show I have to cover.
Really?
Never do, because that gives things away.
Right.
I always stop it. So yeah, I assume that it's always going to happen. I think we would have definitely been more excited. But there's 100 more things that we would be more excited about if we didn't already know they were happening from the previews. Because the previews usually give us a little taste of something, like you said.
Yeah, I guess I prefer like more of like grand over the next couple episodes. We're going to probably see Grodd, not like Grodd will be lifting you by the neck and dropping you.
Don't ever watch previews.
Well, we have to.
I hear you have to, but everywhere else.
Though I feel like from a certain perspective, it makes you excited to see the next episode if you know that those characters are going to be there.
Yeah.
I mean, because they didn't show any piece of the fight. Like, even when they showed up, I thought that's where the episode was going to end. And I was going to be so sad. And then they actually had the whole thing, and I was so excited.
We saw that through.
Right. So I think that tease was just enough.
I'm just curious. I love, though, that like Joe and Barry had that lovely moment where he was like, I look up to Oliver. He's like a mentor figure to me. And we're like, yes, but like take it for a grain of salt. And he's like, let me just call him.
Yeah.
Let me page him. All right, let's hear what the chat roll has to say.
All right, last question. A little shout out to Savion Gaming. He asks, do you think that because they saw Wells use his suit ring in action, that they will use it for Barry?
Oh my gosh, that'd be amazing.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. I guess I should mention
it was
that.
crazy when that came out. I wanted it to have like a voice like, wee!
I know. I made us,
like, I'm coming out! Like,
I made us
crazy,
rewind it. It was so cool.
Like a crazy like monk, like a chipmunk voice or something. Like when it was because it went small to big.
But that's classic Flash ring, right?
Yes.
So cool.
So in the comics, the Flash keeps a compressed version of his suit in a ring, and he'll like release it, and it is spring loaded and all that stuff, and he'll just quickly switch into it. So I thought it was really nice that.
I almost thought you just said my spring collection.
Yes.
Like you were going to say like his spring collection of suits.
Yeah.
My spring, and then you didn't say.
You know, he has pocket squares in there. He has nice ties, matching shoes.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, the ring was awesome.
Yeah. I love that throwback. And people, like, even in our comments, you guys are great, have been mentioning that every time they show Wells in the time vault, he has the ring on. And there was a lot of speculation whether it was going to contain a suit or not. And it does, which is great.
Okay, tell me this. I would love if they took that idea. However, as far as we know, man down, Harrison is quote-unquote dead. They could just take the literal ring. They don't need to recreate it.
No,
like, take it off his finger.
Why couldn't they?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, they could.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, the two options are either they take his ring, which I think is a hilarious idea, or it's that causal nexus that Cisco mentioned last week, where it's like, well, now we're going to create it because we saw that it's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that. It's like, now we know it's possible. Like, let's do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We talked about the fight, but we loved the fight. I think it was awesome. I loved like the locations it took us on. Mm-hmm. Last time we saw them spitting, though, Harrison and the Flash were chasing around the particle accelerator. I was kind of nervous that would have like activated something. All that energy.
Oh,
and
you really thought that while you were watching it?
Yeah, because like
really
when Harrison was around, the like the liquid would go up.
Yeah.
Like that's energy coming off them. In theory, that could have been like energy just like doing something. I was like, this is the missing piece in my mind. But obviously, what do you guys think is going to happen to Harrison?
Well, I actually want to ask, and this might be a dumb question, I don't know, but I wanted to know, did we find out, because so much happened, Gideon, did we find out what happened at the end with like where Gideon's going to go from here?
We've no updates, but as far as we know, like
still in the
no loyalty to Wells though, like at this point, or like
no.
So someone else could just take Gideon and
I mean, she was already
Gideon.
telling Barry things and like helping.
Right. So maybe Gideon could be adopted.
Right.
Okay. Cool. And to answer your question about Wells, what will happen to Wells? That's what we asked. I feel like this is not the end of Wells. I don't think it is. I don't think we'll see him in the next episode. I think that's going to be one of the cliffhangers, like what happened to him. We'll find out like mid next season.
Yeah.
I think that they're going to put him in the pipeline. They're going to probably have some, now that they have dampers established, they're probably going to make a dampered cell in the pipeline and probably try to keep him in there.
Gosh, can you imagine? He's so brilliant though, putting him in the pipeline.
Okay, so the last shot of him, he just had an arrow in his back. Yes. I mean, I don't think they would kill him. I mean, I think that's obvious.
No, it was, the arrow was the nanites that he used earlier in the fight. So,
and that just kind of like dampens powers for a little bit.
well, I think
Makes you
that
shake, right, or something?
I think it was like anti-kinetic nanites. So once they were inside of him, they were taking away his speed force. And so I think at that point, because the first time he phased them out of himself. Yep, those are words. And then the second time, I think he had taken so much damage that by that point he was just knocked out.
Oh, I understand. During that sequence, I think you audibly said, "Oh, that makes sense now." When Oliver said something about like it
Yes.
favors. I don't know.
You did. You did.
What was that about?
You said, I'll need you in the future.
put you on the
I'll
spot.
need you for
Oh no,
forever.
that is so. There's for people who watch both Arrow and The Flash. There is a little bit of confusion in terms of where everything happens in The Flash and in Arrow in terms of the timeline.
Yeah.
And so if you're caught up on Arrow, there's certain factors happening right now that would lead you to believe that there's no way that the Arrow could be in this episode. And so when he asked for the favor, he said, "I'm going to need a favor from you." It put it in the timeline. It put it in perspective.
Gotcha.
I'm trying to figure out if me saying it is
Spoiling.
a spoiler.
You know, yeah, let's skip it. But okay, that's cool. I just kept going back to when we saw Harrison like face down the opening line. He was like the opening voiceover,
Yeah.
and he said everything that like I want will like be given to me.
Right.
Like I'll make sure it will happen. And I just don't think that he's like out of the picture for now.
No,
Yeah.
can't be.
No.
Too.
And
Yeah,
then
he's too good.
Entertaining.
Yeah, he's great. And even face down, though, the particle accelerator is still on. You know, like the blue thing is still down there.
Yeah.
Like as far as we know, that's not been turned off.
And they don't know how to turn it off.
Right.
They need Wells to tell them how to turn it off, I think.
Right.
Or Gideon or somebody from the future.
I mean, maybe that will be the beginning of the next episode, is them trying to get, especially if they put him in the particle accelerator.
Yeah.
It might be their way of being like, well, if you don't tell us how to turn it off, you will die.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, it easily could have been like, oh, we turned it off, we got it. But like, how cool would it be if next episode starts and they're like, oh my God, we have 6 hours. We have to turn this off.
Right.
Right.
Or it goes up, you know?
I don't think it's going to be that easy because they would have done it in the first place. It's like, oh, we would have figured it out before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've obviously studied it in these past few days or whatever.
It could be very, very cool. Speaking of which, let's go to predictions.
Yes.
Officially. Give us a sound cue.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
We saw that he does go back in time again.
There.
But do you guys have any other predictions to carry out the season? We have one more episode.
I don't. I don't think we're going to. Okay, I do. I don't think we're going to see Wells. I think that I think that Wells is not gonna. He's not gonna die, but I don't think we're gonna see a lot of him. They're gonna maybe just skip over that a little bit.
Okay.
Because I feel like that's something where they would want to like leave us hanging with. Because what are they gonna give us next episode that's gonna leave us with a cliffhanger, which they should do.
I think, though, they will give us a little bit of something to give us a cliffhanger. Because as of now, there's nothing to, like, excite us for, like, a whole, like, summer break.
Yeah.
But if they were to give us, like, him and he's got, like, an eye patch and a hook, and you're like, oh, my God, how does he become Captain Hook? You know, just, like, something to carry
they
it
have
on.
to. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Tari?
Seems to me like
I guess I have two separate predictions. One that's crazy pants, and the other one that's a real prediction.
Okay, what's the real one?
The real one, I think that we know that he being Barry is gonna go back to the past, and I know everyone wants it to be a like Flashpoint Paradox thing, but I think that this is going to be his chance to make peace with his mom dying. So he's going to get to talk to her as an adult. She's going to get to see him and how great he becomes, and then he'll finally be at peace.
Great.
And then my crazy pants one is that he's going to go to his mom, and convince her that she needs to make it seem like she's dead. And then once everyone believes that she's dead, he brings her to the future so that she doesn't exist in the past. That way, they maintain the illusion that she's dead, not destroying the past timeline, not ruining what
That's
everyone
incredible.
believes.
That's
Because it wouldn't interrupt
mind-blowing.
anything.
It
He would
wouldn't.
still grow up without a mother.
Right.
Oh my God. And then he brings her to the jail
In jail? No.
No, to visit her husband.
To visit Henry.
But lock her up.
No.
Oh, that's a really awesome prediction.
Reunited.
I can't top that.
That's incredible.
Me too.
These people should take a lesson from you.
Yeah, that's
amazing.
awesome. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Instead of a prediction, though, we will say that Roxy will be back next week, as well as David
Yes.
Rappaport, the
Yes.
casting director. So
Yes.
that's very exciting.
Yes.
We'll get to chat with him. Guys, until next week, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Ashley Daniels, Instagram at Miss Ashley Daniels, and Periscope at Ashley Daniels.
Nice. And you can find me on Twitter at TariJ. It's TAURIJAY.
Guys, I tweet from Jeff Masters 1. We'll see you next week for the finale. Goodbye.
Woo! Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Bye. See you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.